Eyes closed. Head on the door. Mckayla chokes the MP7. Her finger rests against its trigger. She's not aware that she has its barrel pointed at her foot. She stays there. In the chill night, breathing steadily. It's the gunshot that forces her eyes open. And all she sees is the metal, she guesses, steel of the door she rests on. Her peripheral vision is stolen by the golden bangs that hang down either side of her face. Another shot echoes, somewhere to her left. And Mckayla peels her forehead from the door. She's in a alleyway. Behind her, the Otherworld's diner. A fluorescent bulb burns yellow above the side door. To her left, this alley spills into the main road. Its mouth is dyed neon reds from the diner's candle dragon logo. There's something about the main road she should remember, but it doesn't come to mind. She pulls a bit of hair out of her eye and glances to the right in the alley. A sign just beside this door, it's an arrow, points off to her right, says parking. And immediately she finds a green dumpster, the black lid closed. She doesn't know what's inside. But Mckayla scoffs to herself. This alley with the dumpster, it's too tight for more than one vehicle. And she can't remember for the life of her if Sophia ever talked about Sofia. The mere thought brings her back to the bloody handprint on the door in front of her. Her grip reaffirms itself on the MP7. She remembers why she's here. Why she went out tonight. Her estranged girlfriend. Mckayla was out here to save her. Finally do something right. And the moment she was down the street, she glances out of the alley where the red neon light paints a bunch of bodies. The mangled limbs. No definition to them. She sees a bit of hand there, some arms sticking out. The closest in the mouth of the alley is a leg, severed it's by itself. She's sure there's blood, but in the neon lights of the diner, it's all dyed red. Mckayla was there for the start of that battle. And she ran. Now looking at the bloody handprint. Recognizing the massacre to her left. Holding the weapon she stole from the body of a man that was supposed to protect her. Mckayla Feels that same stabbing draw in her stomach, that same twist that makes her want to vomit. The same thought. That she may already be too late. A cool breeze blows down the alley, carries the stench of death. She didn't realize she was used to it till now. Stomach nodding. Heart racing again. She rests the gun against her body. Reaches for the door. Grabs its handle. Stares down the bloody print. Telling herself that it's too large to be a woman's hand. It has to be. She turns the knob. We will be looking to the book 100 Urban Places of Business. It is a D100 book that is going to tell us which kind of, well, business is through this door. Here comes the roll. 96. It is a upholstery repair shop. Kind of an interesting place to have in like an uptown shopping district, but to each their own, right? Next, we will be looking to the 100 Wasteland Dungeon Crawl Spots book. It is another D100 book that gives us locations to, well, have a dungeon crawl in, but we're not going to use that section of the book. Instead, we're going to be looking to its encounter table, which is another D100 section. This is going to tell us what we can primarily find within this upholstery shop. Now, because this is for a post-apocalyptic wasteland, not everything is going to fit thematically within Raccoon City's destruction. So, we're going to alter and twist it to closely fit whatever comes up if it's a little too far out there. Here comes the roll. 87. Mutated giant spiders. Well, that's dead on. There are definitely mutated giant spiders in Resident Evil. Kinda sad they're not really getting any sort of love in the remakes. I don't recall a single spider in 2 or 3. The remake, that is. I know they were in the originals. But here we go. We get to set things right since we're using the theming of Resident Evil 2. We do have to roll for how many are in here, which is 1d8 plus 4. So, clearing this out, here comes the d8. There's a 4 added to this. Obviously, I just said that. 3. 1d8 plus 4 equals 7. This sort of reminds me of The Mist. There's a scene where they go into a pharmacy and there's cobwebs everywhere, and, you know, they spit acid and stuff. Really, really cool scene. Great movie overall. So we're going to kind of borrow the theming of that. Not the acid, but just the overall atmosphere of, like, holy crap, this place is screwed. The door opens inward. Perhaps it creaks. The first thing I want to ask, are the lights on in this place? Here's the D6 for the Oracle. 2. No, there are no lights on. The second question I want to ask. When the door creaks as Mckayla pushes it open, does anything skitter away? Because it would be creepy. We're going to make that likely and roll 2d6 leaning towards yes. And here's the roll. 6. That is our first intervention, which we call wilds in here because we just introduced Resident Evil characters. Mckayla pushes the door open. It's pitch black in there, except for the fluorescent bulb behind her, which shines a light inside, a very faint orange. It casts her shadow until it joins the rest of the darkened shop. And something races by. She can barely make out the shape. And its ink. Heavier thump. She takes a step back. Raises the MP7. Nothing jumps out at her. She doesn't get any closer. Instinct tells her to move, position herself so that her shadow doesn't bleed in through the open doorway. Does she spot a trail of blood leading into the dark? From the door into the dark. 4. Yes, but it's faint, not heavy like something injured was dragged through. Perhaps it's a blood spot or a bloody footprint, and then it slides off into the not night, but into the shop where it can't be seen. The skittering makes her think of that thing. The way it picked up Derek, and she aims upward. Though she can't really see, the fluorescent bulb cuts low. It doesn't reach above in the shop. She can't see the ceiling in there, the roof. She holds for precious seconds. Keeps her breath still. Doesn't breathe. Nothing. Nothing races out. She backs up. Still keeping the weapon trained on that night, that shadow, until she hits the Otherworld's diner. The side door, it's primarily glass. She glances back through it, over the hand railing, to where Derek's corpse lays against the opposite side of the diner. It's slumped. Oh, let's ask that. Is it still sitting in the same position she left it? Here comes the roll. No, it's not slumped in the same position, but it's barely perceivable. It's only slightly moved. I'm actually going to see if Mckayla notices that it's moved in any way. That's going to be a perception check, which is 3 green. Seeing as it's barely moved, we're going to give it a red. We're going to counter that with 1 blue because she's hyper-focusing right now and glancing to see if there's any change in it. Here comes the roll. Advantage of 3, success of 2 with 1 despair. So, the despair and the success cancel... Yes, the failure part of despair is canceled out by the success, leaving this for 1 success. The advantage of 3 and the despair portion of the despair both remain. I'm going to make the despair say that she misses the fact that there is another growth, an explosion in the chest. She misses the fact that whatever was inside of him came out. The advantage is that it's not going to get her right away. She'll have a chance to react if it happens. He looks back at the body. Notices that it's moved. Perhaps his head was to the left when he stopped, but now he's to the right and just slightly edged out. She looks back into the dark building. Thing that grabbed him, that little green bug. It scurried away. It ran. She glances down the alley. Checks the walls of the shop and the walls of the Otherworld's diner. Both exteriors read clear. Another gunshot off down somewhere past the main road causes her to turn her attention. She's got to move quick. She's got to face the darkness of whatever the hell that shop is, but something's in there. Something she can't see. Mckayla places a hand on the door, the door frame, the left of it, and then gently slides it around the open threshold reaching on the wall. She's hoping for a light switch. Does she touch a cobweb? 6. Yes, that is our second wild. Yes, she touches a cobweb, and she brushes against something hairy. She feels it squirm and move, and she pulls it back. She's looking at her hand, panicking, what the fuck, she's thinking to herself. The other thing left slime, not webs. What leaves webs? Spiders? She felt thick, heavy. That's not a spider. God, are there giant bugs? The thought pushes her away from the door again, and when she hits the Otherworld's diner wall for a second time, realizes that Derek was a SWAT officer. They send those guys with lights, right? He had to have had the lights still. He had to have had the lights still. Then maybe Max. That's what she had forgotten. He was infected. Oh, with Light and Samson. No. One thing at a time. There were 2 people over there. They can handle the infected. They had to have known, but he walks away now. You're thinking of excuses, Mckayla. For all you know, Sophia's right through that door, covered in spiderwebs waiting for you to save her. And the longer you hesitate, the less of a chance she has, so... She gets up on the door of the diner. She peers through the glass, looking at the ceiling. Nothing. Hesitating then no longer, she pushes her way back into the diner. She walks with the weapon up, careful of every booth, looking over the diner itself, the bar, aiming her weapon in some weird configured angle in case she has to fire. Breaking off the handle, apparently. She glances over to Derek's body. Gets closer to it. She's looking for the flashlight. I'm going to give her another perception check, because now she gets closer, it's probably easier to see that there's a hole in his chest. It was 3 greens earlier. This time we're just going to make it against the purple and roll it. Success, advantage 3, threat 1. So the roll becomes success of 1, advantage of 2. She succeeds. With that advantage of 2, I'm going to have her take 1 more magazine for the MP7, giving her an additional 20 rounds. He reaches the body on its side, and then she stops. Her hand is partway to it when she sees the hole in his chest. It has a weird green slime and an amniotic sac hanging out of it. He stares at it for a moment and looks at the goo that's running down his jaw. She immediately thinks of aliens. She'd do for Alan Ripley. It makes her look back up to the ceiling. And then to the kitchen. Is she going to be attacked by a drain Demos? I'm gonna have 2 dice out there for unlikely. 1, the larger Deimos ran earlier, and 2, the babies probably aren't going to strike out as they're young. They're more likely to feast on the corpse, I'm guessing. Here comes the roll, leaning towards unlikely. 3. No, she's not attacked by a Demos, but she spots the babies. Perhaps as she's reaching for it, she sees one of the babies in the sack still, or in the amniotic sac still, chewing away at his gut. She's enthralled by it. Watching the little crustacean-like thing chewing away at his torn gut. For a second she wants to vomit. For a second she wants to run. But she doesn't. Does she? Let's be fair about this. Let's give her a vigilance check. It's a yellow and a green against... We'll make it 1 red. I'll add a blue in there for the fact that she had that advantage earlier and had already said that she grabbed something. So we'll make it that blue to represent that. Here comes the roll. Success of 3, threat of 1, advantage of 2. It becomes success of 3, advantage 1. So she's not going to run or vomit. Perhaps she's stronger-willed now, seeing him get killed, shooting that dumbass chef that lays against the ground over there. Are they eating him too? No, and he lays there intact. She looks at the body of the man for a second. The kid, he wasn't a man, and he lays there, wide-eyed, bullet hole in his chest. Uniform drenched in blood. She looks back to the thing, realizing she shouldn't take its eye off of it, and draws the knife that Sheldon had given her. Poor bastard. Better be alive. She lets the MP7 dangle off to her side. As she reaches over with the knife, she's careful, and she unclips. There's a pouch with a clip over it, and she unclips it. It's away from where the break in the stomach is, perhaps a little higher, on the man's chest, and she slides out the 1 magazine that she can. She drops it at her side, and when it clatters, the bug runs. We'll say it jumps up and runs, scurries to the kitchen, and she grabs the MP7 and aims, but it slides underneath the door. She lets the MP7 dangle once more, pops the button on the flashlight, then picks it up. She places the flashlight under her neck, sheaths the knife, takes the MP7 and then grabs the flashlight. Feels like it's awkward to hold both like this. Call of Duty says that guns kick when you shoot them, especially one-handed. That's why you never use akimbo, she tells herself. Letting the MP7 dangle, probably not on top of the boogie board. She pulls out Sheldon's handgun. One more compulsory glance to the ceiling reveals nothing. And Mckayla turns away. She speed walks to the Otherworld's diner's side exit and then pushes her way out back into the cold. Once more, she stands in the alley. And once more, the darkness of that building glares back at her. Light in hand, she clicks it. Does it shine upon a scary spider? Here comes the roll. 3. No, but when the light clicks on, she gets a view of the webs. They're massive. They cover a portion of the wall, and a sack, a large one, probably the shape of the general shape of a chair, dangles from the ceiling. Flashlight falls to her side. For a second, she doesn't even know what to think. We're gonna do a cool check. We couldn't do an episode without making a cool check. You all knew this. Cool is yellow-green. This is probably something. I was gonna make it a red for being completely unexpected, but she's seen some crazy shit tonight. We'll make it 1 purple, 2 purple, and throw in a blue for the fact that she has to get Sophia. Here comes the roll to see if she can keep it together. Advantage 1, failure 1, threat 1. The roll becomes failure with nothing else. What the and it gets a bit too much for her. She feels herself breathing. But she knows she has to go in there. She knows it. It freaks her out. So what we're gonna do? She has to go in. She's not gonna run this time. We're gonna give her D6 strain. Here comes the roll. 5. Strain represents the fact that as she gets more higher and higher, she's becoming more tired, more stressed out, more uncomfortable, and it's going to mess with her a bit. We're also going to make another roll real quick. It's going to be a D4. 1. On the next check that she makes, regardless of what it is, she's going to receive 1 more purple. That'll represent her anxiety. No. As she says that, the flashlight dances across her feet. No. Fuck that. She turns and moves off down the hall. Or not the hall, the alley. She gets a few steps in there. She thinks about the night. She's coming across the red light and she sees the bodies in front of her. There is blood. It's everywhere. On every corpse. On the pavement. She ran from that. She ran when Shelton faced that man. And the only time she didn't run, she stood frozen. And every time she failed to act, someone else paid for it. The flashlight. She grips it in her left hand, but it dangles. Her arm's loose. And she looks over her shoulder. The beam catches the diner's wall, and she looks into the shadow, the uninviting ink of the building. She takes a deep breath. Squeezes the handgun so tight that her knuckles brighten up. Came out here for a reason, Mckayla, she tells herself. Everything that's happened, everyone that's died, has done so to get you here. She starts moving back to the door. It's not about you anymore. Maybe it never was. Standing at the door of the building, Mckayla shines the light through once more. She tells herself she's looking for evidence of survivors. But deep down, that cowardly, fucked up part of her is hoping to find Sophia's lifeless body so she doesn't have to go in. She scans the floor, following the trail of the blood. Does she find anyone? Neutral roll, D6. Here it goes. Wild. At 3 6s, we introduce a new something from Resident Evil. On an even, it'll be a human character. On an odd, it'll be a creature. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this is. Here comes the roll. Odd, it is some sort of creature from Resident Evil. Now we roll a D100 to see what comes up. Here comes the roll. 3. We are facing something easy enough to deal with, something not too dangerous. But what is it? Let's find out. 96. Oh! Alright, yeah. Man, those odds are so small. There is a chimera in here. One of my favorite Resident Evil creatures. And also one of the only ones that scared me in the old game. I think I might have said that in one of the previous videos, actually. But they are terrifying. And it sort of makes sense that they're in here. Just because it's creepy, it's dark, it's scary. So, oh, that's going to be fun. Let's do the scene. The flashlight comes across, and she spots it. A foot. A humanoid foot. But when it comes across, when the light comes across that foot, it moves off. She's about to call out, but then she stops herself. When Derek called out, the spider grabbed him, or the thing grabbed him. She glances up. Nothing. No body. Yeah, Mckayla. Do this. Someone's inside there. Probably something. Capsule. No. Give them advantage. She moves up. To the door. To the wall, the open frame. She reaches through with a handgun. She's feeling for a light switch. Does she find one? No. She gets on the other side with the door, where the hinge on the door is. She turns the flashlight over and it blinds her for a moment. She looks away, lets her eyes adjust, aims the light away from her face, and then reaches in with the back of the mag light. Does she find a light switch on that side? Yes. 6. First wild. Yes, and the light comes on. Click. This front section seems to have once been a waiting area for some sort of automotive store. There are cobwebs all over the place. More than one sack dangles in the corner above the reception desk. But when the light comes on, something runs off, and she hears a door slam on the other side. She aims her weapon and points. Glancing through the door, leaning, feeling creeped the fuck out because of all the cobwebs. Are there any spiders in here, actually? Let's roll that. Another 6. Wow, that's quick. Yes, and... yes, there's another spider, and it's feasting. Perhaps it doesn't care about the light. No, and that's what went through the door. A spider was in here and it ran through the door. So when the door slammed, whatever was behind the desk, that's what makes itself known. It's like a clicking noise at first. A high-pitched whine. Slowly, rising up with its shoulders first, and then its head. One overly long-armed claw. Like Chimera, the Chimera on the other side makes itself known. The grotesque creature looks to her, one eye higher on its face than the other, and when the mouth opens for a cry, it practically breaks as if it was dislocated the jaw entirely and 2 mandibles come out. It screeches at her, crying out. Does she get the first shot off? Some sort of move. We're going to give her a vigilance check on this one. She was not expecting the creature. I already said we're going to give her an extra purple no matter what this is. I'm going to make it a red because that Chimera is a creepy looking monster. I'm going to throw out another purple because it personally scared the shit out of me. All right, so here comes the roll. Success 1, advantage 3, threat of 3, failure. This is just a straight failure. She does not get the first shot off. Oh, and it not lunges, it takes a few steps, a few weird crab-like steps around the desk. All right, now we're going to do an agility check to see if she can react before it gets there. Her agility is 3. I will make it we'll make it a coordination check to see if she can pull herself together fast enough. Yellow, green, green, and this thing has an agility of 3 purple. No alternations to the roll. So let's see what that comes out as. Here it goes. Advantages of 1, success of 2, failure of 2, threat of 2. She fails with a threat of 1. This creature's getting the first shot off. Or the first attack. Oh, holy shit! It rushes out towards her, perhaps distracted by the light that's shaking in her hand as she's freaking out. And as it gets close, its arm pulls back, its head moves with it. And Mckayla glances. She can see it coming. She's telling herself to move, but she doesn't. It strikes. This creature is going to attack with sharp claws. It is a brawn of 4. Its brawn is 1. Pretty stupid. I thought she'd be scarier than that. You're not scary at all. So brawn of 1. I guess that is a low-level creature. These things should be higher. And brawn of 1, sorry. Momentarily forgot what the hell I was doing. The purple represents the distance and the green represents the attack. Half a second, I want to make sure I have that right. Yep, had it right. Just forgot to grab the GM screen. So, here comes the roll. With a failure of 2 and an advantage of 1, I will let the advantage cut out the other threat, so whatever advantage it would have had is crossed out from that last roll. And the creature fails its attack. Oh, and she sees it coming. Move, she tells herself. And then it's a screaming voice in her head. She yells, move! And she jumps back. She slams the open frame of the door and grunts out, but the creature catches nothing but cobweb. Perhaps a bit of it dangles off to the right, while another piece stays stuck to the Chimera's arm. Mckayla backs out into the alleyway, and she aims her gun out. Let's give her a shot at this. Mckayla's ranged light, which is tied to the light pistol, is yellow, green, green. This is point blank range, so she's going to get 1 purple. I will give her a nothing. Let's leave it neutral. Let's not make any sort of changes on that. Here comes the roll. Success with an advantage of 5. The critical for this weapon is a 4. But real quick, I'm going to take a look at the combat encounters and just see what I can do to alter it with 4 advantage. 5 advantage, my apologies. Okay, so I've decided what we're going to do. Once the creature misses and has that strange claw full of cobwebs, Mckayla's going to aim her gun almost point blank on that creature and fire, hitting the arm exactly right at the joint. The creature's arm bends inwards. She is disabling it for 3 of the advantage, and then she's going to spend 2 to add it black to the target's next check. That shot was devastating. Perhaps the creature screams out. It recoils, and much like in the games, it takes a few steps back and then jumps up to the ceiling. Mckayla glances up. Instinctively, she gets low as the creature starts pacing around in circles. But it's inside, and she's out. She's waiting for it to strike, waiting for it to come out, but it doesn't. Still holding the flashlight. Places it beneath, aims out her gun, and takes a second shot. I wouldn't consider them engaged anymore, but short, so it's still 1 dice. And here's her attack. Ranged light. She fired out once. She has 6 rounds left. Here comes the shot. I'm actually going to give it 2 purple to represent the fact that it's running around in circles. Here's the shot. Threat, triumph, success, failure of 2. So she fails the roll, but with a triumph. What can we give her with the triumph? Ben, I'm going to give her a +1 melee defense until the end of her next turn. And as it runs around, she's watching, waiting for it to strike out. But the creature doesn't. Does it run? Yes, that is our 3rd intervention, apparently. Nice. The creature takes off and runs through the doors. Mckayla gets the energy, the strength to chase after it. She's seeing blood. She's seeing red. Let me change the shot. She has 5 left. So she steps into the building, not exactly paying attention, not caring. As she moves in, she steps on the cobweb, turns towards the door it's running through, and as the door swings open, she gets a view of... Even as a humanoid, or even as human, odd is creature. Even. So let's see what Resident Evil thing shows up. 43. Another unnamed thing. Let's see what it is. A police officer. It's got to be one of the police officers that was here with Mckayla, or Sophia, right? So it runs through, the door opens, and the cop's standing right there. He has his own weapon. Perhaps it's a shotgun. And when the door swings open, him and Mckayla lock eyes, but then he sees the creature above him. Holy shit! And he throws himself down and fires. Does he hit the creature? We're gonna roll 2 dice towards unlikely. Here comes the roll. Which is a 2. No, he doesn't hit it. The shot echoes out. Get out, get out, get out! Over here! Mckayla shouts, and the guy scrambles to his feet. Does the shot attract spiders? No, and he gets to the door. Fine. He runs over to her. Out the door! What? Out the door! And she runs out. He runs past her out the door, and Mckayla backs away, aiming her weapon. The flashlight's still with it. She grabs the door and slams it. Holy shit, lady. Male or female? We gotta roll for that. Even male, odd female. Odd female. Holy shit, lady. The police officer says. What the hell was that thing? You're the one that's in there, Mckayla says. You don't know? No, I don't. Does this girl know about the spiders? Leaning towards yes. Here comes the roll. Yes, intervention 1. No, didn't look like any of the giant fucking spiders I've seen. No, yes, she knew the spiders, and she's already killed, D4 -1. 3 of them. 2 of them, sorry, I thought it was a 4. She's already killed 1 of them. There are, where's the pencil? 6 spiders left. No, that's not any of the giant spiders. Fucking knew it. Don't worry, they can be killed. I got one. You're a cop. Yeah, the woman says. Mckayla, perhaps a little bit adrenaline from, or a little bit off the adrenaline that she's going through right now from fighting the Chimera. She, not aggressively, but chaotically approaches the female officer. Hey, do you know of Sophia? Get back away. Sorry, just Sophia. A woman, did you come from the diner? Very likely she came from the diner. So let's roll for it. Here comes the roll. Yes, bud. Yeah, I came from the diner, but I didn't get anybody's name. We just ran in here when the streets got overrun, and it's a girl, a woman, white, brown hair. She worked there. She must have had a white blouse on or something. Does the woman know her? Rolling towards the likely. Here comes the roll. 5, yes. Yeah, I knew her. Thin, right? Yes, Thin, Mckayla says. Is she okay? Is she all right? Is she in the building? Is she in there? No. But I don't think she's in there. The others, they were supposed to be out back, trying to get a vehicle. I went in there with my partner. We were trying to find keys to what's back there. So she's in the back alley? The back parking lot? She should be. Without waiting for the officer, Mckayla steps around her, handgun still in hand. Hey, wait! We shouldn't split up if we're together! And you need to keep up with me. The officer runs to her side. We're gonna roll 2d20. How old is this police officer? Here comes the roll. 16. Doesn't really make sense to be 16. I guess I didn't think about the fact that it would be below 20. So let's go ahead and add let's add a d6 to that. She's 18. Bare minimum. I'm guessing you can be a cop. Yeah, you have to be. Wasn't Rebecca Chambers 18 in Resident Evil 1? So this girl's considerably younger than Mckayla. Perhaps she's never taken seriously by any of the adults around her. Maybe there was a friendship forming with Rebecca, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Hey, wait, you can't just walk off. I'm a police officer. Girl, I've seen my share of officers tonight, and let me tell you, we're all getting put down tonight. The girl, doesn't say anything as Mckayla turns the corner to the other vehicles. Is there anybody here? Yes. Is it Sophia? Is Sophia among the people here, I should ask? No, let's ask, is there more than one person here? Yes. Second intervention, apparently. Sophia? Mckayla calls out. Is Sophia among them? 2 dice for likely. Third wild. We are getting wilds left and right tonight. That is crazy. Everything's just jumping out all at once. Still a drink of water and then we'll find out what shows up. D6, even, human, odd creature. Even human. All right, let's hope. It would be so cool for a named character to be here with Sophia. Maybe he protected her or something. Here's the D100, anything but another police officer. 71. Okay, well, it might not be a police officer, but there's a chance for... I'm not going to tell you what the chance is. That takes away the fun. Here's what's here with them. And here it goes. 50. Paramilitary. That's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, man. So, we have 2 ways of looking at this for being paramilitary. One of them is a lot more interesting than the other. When doing paramilitary, 2 things come to mind. UBCS or the Umbrella Secret Service. We'll make that an odd or even roll. Even will be the UBCS. Odd will be Umbrella Secret Service. Here comes the roll. The USS is here. Oh, man. Oh, that's dirty. Eliminate all survivors kind of thing. Cover-ups. That's intense. Imagine that we finally get to Sophia and then she just gets mowed the fuck down. Okay, let's ask that. Let's ask first. Is the paramilitary already here? Yes, they're already here. Are people gunned down? Well, no, they would have to be. That's their objective. They're going to kill people. They're definitely going to shoot people. So she's going to turn the corner. Yeah, I've already seen it. Mckayla turns the corner. Sophia! And she spots it. How many people? Let's roll a d4. 3. Sophia! She turns the corner and shines the light. It comes across somebody. A man who's not looking her direction. He's dressed in all black. BDU. A black armored vest, plates, a helmet, face-covered glass, goggles that prevent his eyes from being seen, and a mask like a balaclava. And the light shines upon him, and he turns her direction, slowly. Before anything goes further, before this man makes his reaction, I feel like Sophia, I feel like Mckayla, that's who we're talking about, should definitely get a streetwise check. Because this guy looks and acts different than anything she's seen all night, and she's run into SWAT officers who are not dressed like him. Here comes streetwise. Yellow, green, green. I'm going to make this against one purple. And here comes the roll. Advantage for success, failure, threat. It's a failed roll with an advantage of 3. She's not going to get the reaction, but the advantage of 3 is that the young cop beside her is going to save her life. And the Secret Service man glances over. And he lifts his weapon. Female survivor! He calls out to his other squad members, who all seem to mesh out of the darkness. She wasn't focused on them. The moment he raises his gun, Mckayla's caught off guard. Huh? And the cop grabs her, yanks Mckayla back as the rounds click off against the wall to her right. Perhaps the ricochet breaks a piece of glass. Wait, what the hell? Those aren't military men! Don't let them get away! The USS member screams, "Run!" The young cop shouts out, "We need to give her a name, so I don't just keep saying young cop." This young cop's name is Laura. As she's yanked, Mckayla turns with her, almost losing her balance, but getting her feet right. She runs with the woman. "Get back here!" The USS guy says, because apparently he's just the generic one-liner enemy. He turns the corner for another shot, but as he turns, Mckayla snaps back towards him and fires out. She's not really aiming, so we're going to give her yellow, green, green. The distance is probably, we'll say short range, but give her another red on top of that to represent the blind fire. She's already shot off 5 shots, so here comes the roll. Triumph, advantage, success of 3, failure of 2. So she succeeds with 1 triumph and 1 advantage. So we're going to make that just she kills the dude. She turns around and fires blankly. I'm going to roll a d4 to see how many shots this takes. 4. She has 1 round left. "Get back here!" The moment he turns the corner, "Run!" The cop screams, but Mckayla turns around and fires 4 shots off into the distance. And she hits him. The 3 shots go wide, but the last one hits him crazy or straight in the jaw, ricochets up and into his head somehow, and he turns and spins and hits the ground, ceases moving. His 2 partners jump over him as they turn, but that gives Mckayla the chance to react. The Otherworld's diner is to her left. The upholstery shop is to her right, but the cop is leading. I'm going to roll 2 dice and lean it towards... I'm going to lean it towards likely that she hits the Otherworld's diner because she's thinking of the police, or the upholstery shop having spiders, right? She's probably smart enough to recognize that. So leaning towards yes. Does the woman leading Mckayla dive into the diner? Yes. And she barrels through the diner side door into it. Mckayla turns with her. A few shots echo overhead. They break glass. Shit, what do we do? Is Mckayla keeping track of her ammo? We're going to make that a streetwise check, which is yellow, green, green. I doubt she's been paying attention throughout the entire night because she's been firing wildly. So we'll make it against a red and just roll that. Advantage, success, failure 2. No, she's not been keeping track. She thinks she has more than one round in there. Fuck, what are they doing? She turns around. One of the officers comes to the door and fires out. And by the officers, I mean the USS. However, as this USS member reaches the side door where the glass is, she lifts up her machine gun and fires off. She's aiming at Mckayla, who's in the back, I guess. And let's see what she gets. This is ranged light, which goes off of agility 4. This is going to be an easy roll. And that'll be it. Well, that's the chance of Mckayla getting fucked up right now is pretty high. That weapon deals 6 damage. She has 12 health, so let's hope it's not a heavy hit. Here comes the roll. Success of 3, advantage of 2. So it deals a total of 9 damage. And as they turn, the female officer, Flora, we don't know her name is Flora yet, rounds the corner. Run, run, hurry! The USS reaches the back door. As Mckayla's running by the chef, the dead chef, they lock eyes for a second, and the burst goes out. We're going to roll a d6. But we're not going to count the head, because that would kill her. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll just be 5. 1 is her left hand, right hand is 2, and then etc. 5 would be her chest. Where is she hit? 1, 2, 3. She's hit in her left leg. Go. She looks at the man, and then the shot rips right through her thigh. She stumbles on to the counter, sliding with it. Does she lose the handgun and the flashlight? We're going to roll each of those. This will be a resilience check to see if she keeps a hold of them. Her resilience is green. She's just been shot. So let's see how that goes. Here's the roll for the knife or the flashlight. Success, advantage, threat. She keeps the light. Does she keep the handgun? Failure of 2 with advantage of 1. No, she doesn't. The bullet rips through her leg. She lands against the counter, hits herself with the mag light. The pistol flies out of her hand and lands perhaps near Derek's body, and she slides and rolls onto her back. The glass is shattered from the door, and the USS operator crouches underneath and moves forward. Her partner, the other USS man, stands behind her, stepping close to the door. Flora turns back and fires off a shot, a shell. Does she hit anything? This is ranged heavy, which also goes off of agility. This is a 2. With the close range of purple, they're not engaged, but they're short. The woman fires out. She's aiming towards the closer female USS. Failure, success, advantage, threat. That is a complete 0. She turns and fires, but she's firing wildly as she backs to the kitchen door. The shotgun kicks in her hand, but she misses. She catches nothing. Another piece of glass from the Otherworld's diner breaks. Ah! Mckayla lays on the ground as she drags herself forward, trying to get through the door. The operator's getting close. The other one is now entering in. And the two of them are moving through. Can Mckayla gather herself to do something? This is going to be survival. Again, against the red for being shot. Can she do it? Advantage. Oh, failure, advantage 3. No, it's a failure with an advantage of 3, but the cop can. As Mckayla lays there, crying out, placing a hand on her wounded leg, the police officer stands at the foot of the kitchen. But that woman, the USS, is focused on Mckayla. Hey, asshole! Flora shouts out. Can she hit? Green. We'll actually upgrade one of those green to a... Okay, yellow. And then against the purple, against the cop standing there. We already upgraded it. We'll give the USS operator a black for not paying attention to it. Here comes the roll. Success 2, failure 1. She succeeds by 1. Hey, asshole! The USS operator looks up, and the woman holds the MP shotgun, fires out. Breaks off the handle again. That is near a point-blank range. For a success of 1, that's a total of 9 damage. The operator soaks up 5 of it, right? So the operator takes 4 damage straight away. The shot rips into the officer and throws her back. It launches her off her feet, but the bulletproof vest takes most of it, and she lands into one of the booths. The other partner, the male of the USS operator, looks towards the police officer and fires out. But the police officer is in cover. So we're going to give her a black towards the officer, or towards the USS man shooting, and then the distance of short. So this is what we got. Here comes the roll. Success of 3, advantage of 1, failure of 1, threat of 2. So this is a success of 2 with a threat of 1. That threat is going to let Mckayla gather herself up, but he's still going to be getting 7 rounds off of the officer, who soaks up 2 of it, leaving 5 health for her left. He turns out and he fires out. The shot kicks, nailing the officer. We'll say it hits her in the arm as she reels back. She grunts out, and Mckayla's laying on the ground. She has a hold of her MP7, and she's shaking, breathing hard, looking down. She feels the burn within her leg. The USS officer in the booth is starting to pick herself up, but Mckayla aims out, and she fires. So, Mckayla is skill range light. Yellow, green, green. The woman is in the booth, short range close, but she's not fucking moving. So we're going to upgrade one of those greens to a yellow and give her being the USS officer, a black. Here comes the roll. Success of 3, threat of 1. So she succeeds automatically by 3, dealing a total of 8 damage. Soaked up by 5. For a total of 3, the woman has 7 left. And the threat will be that the woman switches to her handgun to fire off back at Mckayla. Mckayla rises and fires. The MP7 bursts out, but she's not used to it, so the weapon rocks upwards. She shoots off, we'll say 3 rounds, leaving her for 15 left. And as the rounds nail that woman in the chest, she has her own handgun raised, and she shoots off 1 round at Mckayla. Agility of 4. So here are the 4 rounds, and against Mckayla's distance of 1, here comes the roll. Success of 2, advantage 5, threat. She's going to disable Mckayla. And that light pistol, I believe, deals 5 damage. That might be it. This actually might be it. She has a soak value of 2. So she automatically takes 3 damage plus 2. So she takes 5 damage, and she was at 3. Mckayla gets that shot off. It rips into the USS. It nails the officer, or nails the woman, and she lifts up her pistol, aims it at Mckayla, and fires. Mckayla takes the round through the head. The MP7 hits the ground. She lays there, blankly staring, ceiling. And it fucking sucks. Because after everything, after running, she was forever too late. Wow. That is not how I thought that was going to go. It's crazy how much a wild can change things. Imagine had I not rolled that final 6, it would have just continued. The story would have been just normal. But what if I had rolled a creature instead of a human after the wild? Or what if any other NPC would have showed up? There's just the possibilities for these games. They're amazing. It's wonderful, really. Welcome, traveler. Now, there are ways that the story will continue. This series isn't going to end because Mckayla bit it. There's Sophia, of course. We can explore that and see what happened to her. I'd like to see who won that firefight, and maybe continue with the person that survives it, whether it's the USS or the police officer. Fun fact, the Trinity in Resident Evil Trinity comes from the 3 factions in the game: US military, survivors, and then Umbrella, so it's interesting to take a look at that different side, to see how they handle it and what their objective is. Why were they in that area, and did they really kill Sofia, if they had a chance to, or if she was already gone before they showed up. I'm planning on doing another episode soon for Sheldon. A lot of people have been mentioning him, and yeah, I'd like to see what happens to him too. If he gets to make it out, or at least gets a few episodes under his own, that would be interesting to see. The series took a little bit of time for me to come back to, but I'm glad to start doing it again. We had some technical difficulties that resulted in me getting new equipment because the last one just wasn't working, and then OBS kind of screwed the pooch, and I lost motivation, came back, because I've been wanting to continue and do it for a while. I was getting streaming ready, and I've been doing that for a couple of weeks now, actually over a month. Getting streaming ready has been an interesting process. It took weeks to get to the first stream just by getting everything ready. I've been gathering and creating minis to use in the Dungeons & Dragons series that I've been doing. So that's cool, I'm gonna keep doing that. I actually got a guard getting printed out right now. Nonetheless, I will be continuing this series along with my other work. The Victorian era falconry video that I've been talking about is still being worked on. It's a lot to gather, and the time that I have, it's been consumed by getting the streams ready, but I'm finally at a point where I can start working in my other projects. So hopefully not too much longer, but we'll see where that goes. I'll be putting VODs up of the streams on here. It takes a lot longer to edit them than it took this for some reason, and this is a lot more detailed. I guess we'll find out. You know, eventually you get in the swing of things and you start putting it out on a faster, normal basis. But yeah, rip Mckayla. A little sad to see her go. I thought she had an interesting story, one that we didn't fully explore. And I totally butchered that ending fight scene. I was pumped up on the adrenaline of it, getting excited, rushing through the fight, trying to make it cinematic and interesting. And I forgot the main part of this thing. Resident Evil, this was inspired originally, this game series was inspired by Operation Raccoon City. And the thing that interested me most about that game is it's not just side against side. In the middle of those gun battles, creatures showed up, and I totally should have brought in the Drain Demos, brought them back in to start that fight. It would have been a lot more interesting, and I gotta be aware of that in the future, where I go for it from there. But I guess that's enough of my rambling. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, I'll be in other worlds.